Welcome to Trash Talk Reverse. I'm Harry, and I'm going to be rewatching Game of Thrones for the first time since 2019, all the way from the pilot to the series finale, and see if it holds up or if I can see the flaws now that it's been removed from its heyday. To give you a brief idea of my experience with this show, I first watched it back in 2016 while the show was still in the process of releasing season 6. I'd never really seen anything like it, and I'd been a fan of fantasy in general, and I wasn't seeing so much of it on television, so like many others, I was tuned in and ready to go when season 7 came out. I also got the boxed book set and read the first book while rewatching the first season, and I'd be watching the episodes after reading the corresponding chapters. I tried reading the second book, but it was really boring and kind of weird, so I gave up on that. I've also read the original pilot script, but it's been a long time, so I forgot a lot of what was different. Before season 8 came out, I went through the whole show and watched it again in preparation, and afterwards, I pretty much put the entire show in the rearview mirror, and I suspect many other people have done the same thing. Since then, I've watched shows that I believe to be much, much better and of much higher quality, including Black Sails and The Last Kingdom. So I wanted to go back and see if my impression of the show was clouded by the terrible final seasons, or if it really was mediocre all the way through. So, without further ado, here's the pilot of Game of Thrones. Yeah, this pilot teaser scene is kind of iconic, from what I remember at least. The suspense in the scene is well crafted. Because a lot of shows and movies, they have the problem of keeping the viewer interested in like the first couple minutes. You don't want to start off boring.
You want to run away south, run away. Of course, they will behead you as a deserter.
Maybe I'm being a little picky, but they didn't need to tell us they'll behead you as a deserter. I feel like we could have learned that later on. Now that I'm watching this again, this teaser feels a lot longer than I remember. Ooh, you better turn around. When you have an opening like this, that sets up the White Walkers like this, and it's the opening of your show, you would expect such a threat to carry out through all 8 seasons of the show. But knowing how it ended, and knowing that the White Walkers essentially amounted to nothing, really, it's going to impact how I see all these White Walker-related scenes going forward. Forgot about Rickon. R.I.P.
Get the lads to settle their horses.
Do you have to?
Swore an oath, cat.
Law is law, my lady.
See, more of this exposition on the exact same thing we've already discussed, and you should already know this, lady.
I know I broke my oath. I know I'm a deserter. If you can get word to my family, tell them I'm no coward.
See, if we didn't know about all the beheading stuff before, seeing it in this moment would have been really impactful.
Don't look away. Father will know if you do.
Jon is so annoying already, oh my god. All this is supposed to be like such a big moment for Bran, right? But then you see where his character arc goes and it's like, nothing. None of this actually leads to anything for his character. Even if they knew right here that this kid is going to become the king of Westeros.
But do you understand why I had to kill him? The man who passes the sentence should swing the sword.
See these lessons he's learning, like none of this is ever going to amount to anything. I mean, we'll see over the next few seasons, but...
You'll train them yourselves, you'll feed them yourselves, and if they die, you'll bury them yourselves.
Sean Bean is carrying this so much right now.
As your brother, I feel it's my duty to warn you.
If I remember correctly, the first pilot that they wrote and shot that wasn't this, people had no idea that these two were siblings, so they had to put in the line of Jamie saying, "As your brother."
You were never afraid.
There was nothing to be afraid of until you told Father.
But see, just the line, "You told Father," that would have been enough.
All these years and I still feel like an outsider when I come here.
You have 5 northern children. You're not an outsider.
More of this forced exposition.
Think of all those southern girls he gets to stab with his right royal prick.
This dialogue is so weird sometimes.
I saw the king. No climbing.
See, when you see Arya moving around like this, you can see where her story's headed, sort of. But when you see Bran going around jumping on buildings and stuff, you would be shocked out of your mind when you see where his character ends up, because it's ludicrous.
Move.
And see, this little sibling rivalry thing between Arya and Bran, absolute waste, because where does this go? Girl, you better look away. This episode feels so long.
That's Jamie Lannister, the Queen's twin brother.
See, and they say it again here. I guess they were really triggered after the reactions to the first original pilot that they made. They keep telling us that they're siblings every chance they get.
Where's the imp?
Where is our brother?
Again, our brother. How did they miss this the first time? How did they not make it clear that they were siblings the first time?
While I eat, drink, and haul my way to an early grave.
It's like the 3rd time we've heard about this guy's lifestyle.
Queen and her twin brother.
Again, twin brother, we get it. They've told us 10 times now.
Our sister.
Our sister, again.
She belonged with me.
But if she was getting it on with the Targaryen, what made you think she wanted you?
Targaryens are gone.
Not all of them.
Great transition. And here we come to the only character who had anything going for her. It's over half an hour and we've just now met her. Not to mention, it's only been half an hour. This episode feels like forever.
Let them see. You have a woman's body now.
They could see that before you took her clothes off. I'm so glad that they changed the ages from the book. Because this being, what was she, like 14 or 15 in the books or something?
You don't want to wake the dragon, do you?
He's so non-threatening, it's not even funny.
It's too hot, my lady.
Really, really good foreshadowing here.
When Dothraki are defeated in combat, they cut off their braid so the whole world can see their shame.
You think Joffrey will like me?
Shut up, she's so annoying already.
He'd have to leave home, and so would you.
You left your home to come here.
See, the you left home is enough. We didn't need that scene earlier where she was like, oh, I still feel like an outsider. See, Robert Baratheon had it coming, because that dude is stupid. You know the Lannisters are powerful, and yet you're screwing around like this.
You're Ned Stark's bastard, aren't you?
Lord Eddard Stark is my father.
And Lady Stark is not your mother, making you a bastard.
Yes, we got that from context clues.
Your daughter will do well in the capital.
Which is why, with her entire character arc, why did she end up in the north and not on the throne? That is my question. She's the only one in the whole of the Starks who had experience in southern politics and northern politics.
I don't fight in tournaments. That's when I fight a man for real. I don't want him to know I can know.
See, that's a nice sentiment. But you also showed your hand to Cersei and the gang and got yourself killed. So... oh, poor Robb Stark.
She says John Arryn was murdered.
Pacing-wise, this should have been more towards the halfway point of the episode. That transition was so jarring. Did they really have to depict the Dothraki the way they were depicted? Like, oh, look at these people of color being such savages. Too bad Jorah and his dad never met up again.
The ages have turned them to stone.
How did those dragons survive all this time? See, normally I prefer screen adaptations to their book versions, but I don't understand why the show decided to go this route. Because in the book, this scene ends with Dany basically giving her consent, but in the show, they're like, nah, you know what? No consent. Like, why'd y'all have to make this such a terrible moment for the show? Like, what was the purpose of that? Bruh, I swear this episode was shorter. And here we finally come to the end of this first episode. We all know what the scene is gonna be. We all know it's gonna be stupid. This is wild though, like, you really couldn't keep it in your pants till you got back. Like, you really had to. The things I do for love. I'm sorry, but you two are stupid. Stupid. They're ridiculously stupid. Like, I know they thought, oh, okay, we're high up in this tower, but like, y'all could have avoided that. All you had to do was wait till you got back to King's Landing. Or wait till everyone was asleep. I mean, what kid's gonna be climbing up towers in the middle of the night? Anyway, that's a wrap on the pilot episode, and it is definitely worse than I remember it. My god, that was so long. It was only an hour long, but I feel like I've been sitting here for 3 hours. The problem with a show like this, when it's based on the book series, where, like a lot of fantasy series, I think they have the issue of being way too sprawling. A lot of the times, the authors get way too caught up in their world building, and they want to do this, and they want to do that, and they want to go in every single direction. And it gets worse further on down the line, but even here you can see seeds of stuff that are just going to get lost out there. You know, stuff that just meanders and never finds its end. People like to joke about George R.R. Martin and say that whenever in his writing he seems to be getting too lost with all the characters and the character arcs and threads, he just solves it by killing people off. And yeah, he wants to tell a story that follows all the Stark children, and Daenerys, and the Lannisters, and these people, and those people, and these people, and those people, and it's just too much. And you can feel that from this first episode, that it's just really crowded. One of the problems that this show has as a result of the problems that the books have is that maybe he knew where they were starting and maybe he knew they were ending, but he got so caught up in building out this world that he just kept going and dragging things out as long as possible until there was no choice but to end it, which he hasn't even done at this point. The show ended, but a lot of shows and movies and book series come up against this problem where they just keep going, and then it ends because they just have to wrap things up and it doesn't feel earned. Obviously, knowing where things end up is irritating watching this, and it's like, well, you screwed up Bran, and you dragged out Arya, and you screwed up Sansa's ending, and you wasted our time with the White Walker stuff. Watching this is just like a reminder that, no, the Lannisters were not smart. Ned and Robb and the gang were dumb. In the next episode, I believe that's where the stuff with Arya and Joffrey and the two dogs goes down. Or sorry, the direwolves. And at some point, I think maybe episode 5 is where Robert Baratheon dies, or maybe it's 7. And then obviously Ned dies in episode 9, Khal Drogo dies in the 10th, and then Dany has the dragons. And at some point, Catelyn goes on a detour with Tyrion. Oh, right, and somebody tries to kill Bran either in the next episode or the one after. What the hell else goes on in this season? It just feels so dragged out already, you know? But I guess we'll find out. Thanks for watching, and this was Trash Talk Reverse.